Gujarat riots, BJP Maya Kodnani jailed for 28 years. An Indian court has sentenced a senior BJP party member to 28 years in jail for her part in murdering 97 people in the 2002 Gujarat religious riots. Maya Kodnani, an ex-minister and aide to Chief Minister Narendra Modi, is the most senior figure so far convicted. 30 others received life sentences for their part in the killings in Naroda, a suburb of Ahmedabad. The riots left more than 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, dead and were among India's worst outbreaks of unrest. The rioting began after 60 Hindu pilgrims died in a train fire blamed on Muslims in the town of Godhra. Mrs. Kodnani was not a minister at the time of riots but was appointed Junior Minister for Women and Child Development by Mr. Modi in 2007. She quit her post when she was arrested in 2009 in connection with a massacre but remained a member of the State Assembly. On Wednesday, she was convicted of murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy. 31 others were also found guilty of the involvement in the case. One of those convicted has never been brought to justice and was tried in absentia. Babu Bajrangi, a former leader of the militant Hindu group Bajrang Dal, was found guilty on the same charges as Ms. Kodnani. He has been sentenced to remain in jail until he dies. Kingpin of riots announcing the sentences on Friday, Judge Josna Yagnik named Ms. Kodnani as a kingpin of riots in the Naroda area. Communal riots are like cancer on the constitution. Secularism of the incident in Naroda was a black chapter in the history of Indian constitution. The Press Trust of India quoted him as saying, "Acts of communal violence are brutal, inhuman and shameful. It was a clear incident of human rights violation as 97 people were killed brutally within a day, which included helpless women, children, aged persons, etc. The climax of the inhuman and brutal act of violence was reflected in the murder of an infant who was just 20 days old," the judge said. Following Mr. Kodnani's conviction on Wednesday, Gujarat's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) government quickly distanced itself from her, saying that she had not been a state minister at the time of the riots. Correspondents, however, say her conviction is an embarrassment for Mr. Modi, who elevated her to ministerial office in 2007, despite being aware that her role in the riots was being investigated. 3 dead in New Jersey supermarket shooting. A supermarket employee carried out a pre-dawn shooting at the New Jersey supermarket when his colleagues were working, killing 2, officials say. The gunman left the Pathmark store in Old Bridge at 3:30 EST and returned half an hour later with a handgun and an AK-47 assault rifle. A local prosecutor said gunman fired at the first people he saw. An 18-year-old woman and a 24-year-old man were killed before gunman entered the rampage by shooting himself. There were at least 12 people in the store in Old Bridge, a suburb of 25 miles from New York. People were stocking shelves before the grocery shop opened, and many of those inside hid as the shooting began. At least 16 rounds were fired, Mr. Kaplan said, some breaking the front windows. The prosecutor said the motive was still under investigation. Old Bridge Mayor Owen Henry told the New Jersey Star-Ledger newspaper that the gunman was a former U.S. Marine. "This is the worst phone call a mayor can receive," he said. "You can prepare for these things, but you can't prevent them." Police evacuated the shop after the shooting, and several of the employees were taken across the road to a restaurant. We'll move on to the business world. Food prices jump will hit poor, World Bank warns. Global food prices have leapt by 10% in the month of July, raising fears of soaring prices for the planet's poorest, the World Bank has warned. The bank said the US heat wave and drought in the parts of Eastern Europe were partly to blame for the rising costs. The price of key grains such as corn, wheat, soybeans saw the most dramatic increase, described by the World Bank president as historic. The bank warned countries importing grains will be particularly vulnerable. From June to July this year, corn and wheat prices each rose by 25%, while soybean prices increased by 17%. The World Bank said only rice prices decreased by 4%. In the United States, the most severe widespread drought in half a century has wreaked havoc on the corn and soybean crops, while in Russia, Ukraine and Kazakhstan, wheat crops have been badly damaged. The World Bank said the use of corn to produce ethanol biofuel, which represents 40% of the US corn production, was also a key factor in the sharp rise in the US maize price.
Lower prices of food have peaked in February 2011 and have been declining since, especially for the period October 2011 to December 2011. But this trend has been reversed since January 2012, and right now we have the level of prices 8% higher than in December 2011.
Welcome to the world of science. DNA of girl from Denisova cave gives up genetic secrets. The DNA of a cave girl who lived about 80,000 years ago has been analyzed in remarkable detail. The picture of her genome is as accurate as the modern-day human genomes and shows she had brown eyes, hair and skin. The research in science also sheds new light on the genetic differences between modern humans and their closest extinct relatives. The cave dweller Denisovan was a cousin of the Neanderthals. Both groups of ancient humans died about 30,000 years ago, but have left their mark in the gene pool of modern people. And in sports! England versus South Africa. Ewan Morgan 73 helps hosts win. James Anderson took 444 and Jay Denmark 344 as England beat South Africa by 4 wickets in the third one-day international at the Kia Oval. But Alistair Cook's side needed a claim Ewan Morgan innings of 73 to chase down the modest South Africa total of 211 with 12 balls to spare. Jonathan Trott 71 and Morgan put on 108 for the fourth wicket after England were reduced to 64-3. Jonathan Trott 71 and Morgan put on 108 for the fourth wicket after England were reduced to 64-3. South Africa opener Hashim Amla top scored for the Proteas with 43. And now, before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. Marikana murder charges. South Africa minister wants explanation. Roman Abramovich wins cold battle against Berezovsky. Firefighters battle huge blaze near Marbella in southern Spain. Large earthquake strikes off Philippines. Gujarat riots, BJP's Maya Kodnani jailed for 28 years. 3 dead in New Jersey supermarket shooting. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. Be with us in the coming weeks too. Thank you.